Divine greetings, ones and zeros, zeros and ones, boys and girls that are now men and women, kings and queens, gods and goddesses, spiritual beings of this divine matrix. Welcome. I am Clay. Today I want to talk about, today I'm exposing, as I'm rewiring, my mental to an incident that occurred between me and my partner. So this topic has to do with inferiority complex between men and women in a relationship, energy vampirism, and you can even say narcissism. So as I'm being the narcissist and my partner is being the empath, this is the effect that is taking place. This is one of the things that I observed this this season recently. Um, so my partner and I were having an interaction, and she gave me a compliment. In her giving me the compliment, I it inflated my ego, or I misappropriated the energy that she gave to me, and I took it in my ego. I took it in pride, as opposed to humbling myself and allowing us both to be enlightened by the moment, by the nurturing moment that she's providing for me, for us. So, in her giving me the compliment, I took it the wrong way. I took it to mean that I'm inferior. I took it to mean that I'm superior. I took it to mean that I'm to challenge her, as opposed to I'm to be her successor, you could say. So instead of mirroring the light, I absorbed it. I created a vacuum to capture the light. That is the energy vampirism of the whole thing. So I fed on her light. So I did not, in that moment, repay her or reattribute the compliment back to her. I did not reflect it. I absorbed it. And that is energy vampirism. When a person gives you a compliment and you're not choosing to reciprocate the energy, then you are consuming that energy. You're sucking that energy in a manner that is draining the person who is giving you the compliment. So that's what I did in that instant. And that's called being a narcissist. Now, further on in the day, what would happen is that I would go to her with an insight that I have, something that I was so sure is absolutely true and correct. And it's not even that it's not true and correct. However, there's room for improvement. And I would go to her with this insight that I have. And in going to her, this is, relationship between a man and a woman. We're having a conversation. In me having the conversation with her, I'm bringing an insight to her that I had. In bringing that insight to her, she saw something that was wrong with the way I was embodying the insight, or I was not embodying the truth of what it is that I was bringing to her. So I was coming to her intellectually. And it had to do with heart-brain coherence. And in me describing what I was bringing to her about the heart-brain coherence, she saw the deficit in that my words sounded good, but my energy did not actualize what I was saying. And she corrected me. She said something was wrong with the energy that she's feeling as the nurturer, as the superior being, and me being the inferior being. As I'm having the conversation with her, she's detecting that I'm not embodying the words that I'm saying. So I'm pretending. I'm wearing a mask, so to speak. I'm being narcissistic again, because I'm not being true to who I know myself to be, and I'm not being true to who she knows herself to be. So she took it upon herself, which is good, and I appreciate it, to correct me, because this is how our relationship is. Now, when she corrected me, instead of me receiving the correction immediately, in that vacuum that was created earlier in the previous interaction, I felt attacked. I felt as if she wanted to absorb or take the light away from me, that I had put myself on a pedestal. I felt like she wanted to dethrone me, which in truth, this is what the truth does to the demon. It dethrones the demon. So me in my pride felt that, and I felt hurt. So instead of responding to her and reciprocating in a faithful and favoring manner, I got quiet, because that is how I process the energy sometimes. I not only got quiet, but I projected onto her, saying that she was being impatient with me. When that was not the case, she was simply correcting me. However, I was looking an escape, saying that she was not being patient with what it is that I'm saying, because she's accusing me of not embodying the energy of which I speak, that is the absolute truth. I was not embodying the energy of which I was speaking. And she was correcting me. This is what she's supposed to do. She is supposed to correct me as the nurturer. However, I could not receive that. And it took me about half an hour, or no, not half an hour. It took me about an hour to process the energy, to see that I was wrong, to see that, how I put it was, that I was not respecting her gift. I was not respecting her as a nurturer, her as a woman, her as superior, her as an empath, her and her gift of seeing, feeling, sensing, detecting the energy that is within me, that is within her sphere, so that she can provide the healing modality that she comes with. So she comes with being a nurturer. She comes with these gifts. And if I don't allow her to use those gifts, then why is it that I'm having a conversation with her in the first place? If I don't allow her to use her gifts, or if I don't want her to use her gifts, then I'm simply taking advantage of her. I'm simply harvesting energy from her. Because remember, earlier she gave me a compliment, right? Which I chose not to reciprocate. So here it is time again. This is the second incident where now it's proving that I created a vacuum and I absorbed her light without reciprocating it. I was not respecting her, right? So now here it is another moment for me to respect her, and I'm doubling down on what it is that I had done before. So fortunately, I humbled myself, and it felt terrible. I felt hurt. The misappropriated ego, let me correct myself. The misappropriated ego felt tremendous hurt. I felt as if I was being belittled. I was being a little boy. I felt as if she was trampling upon my manhood, so to speak. And I had to realize that this is not trampling upon my manhood. This is actually an opportunity for me to embody manhood, because my misappropriated ego did not want to receive the correction. And I had to humble myself to receive the correction. And that is what I want to share in this share, as I explain what it is between a man and a woman, the woman being superior, the man being inferior, for them to come to an equilibrium, for them to have a balance. Because when you have the relationship, it's not to maintain an inferior and superior relationship. It's to understand that there is the reality of one being inferior and one being superior. And it's not in every single thing, in every single aspect. In some things, I know I'm inferior. In some things, I know she's superior. In some things, I can be superior and she can be inferior. However, in the energy exchange of it all, it's to balance the equilibrium. So, for example, when she came to me with a compliment, that is to balance the equilibrium. Had I received the compliment in the right way, in humility, the equilibrium or the energy would be balanced. I would have reciprocated, and it would have facilitated a better energy exchange for us going forward. Instead, I trampled upon her humility and to make myself grander, to make myself bigger than what I am. And this is coming from the perspective that I suffered this schizophrenic break, which meant that I know that I have these pleasure centers that are misappropriated. These pleasure centers that the brain does not distinguish between good and bad. The brain does not distinguish between what is good pleasure and what is bad pleasure. That is a heart issue. That is a heart complement. The brain just cares for what feels good and what feels good and what feels good. It responds or reacts to the dopamine hit that it gets from being inflated. So it is for us, it is for me to, in the moment of receiving the compliment, to be vigilant, to know that that feeling of heightened grandeur, of elevated status, the moment I see it, I have to catch it and say, okay, misappropriated ego, I see you, wanting to be more than what you actually are. And humble myself. And in that very moment, that is how I can pay or repay, reciprocate someone's good compliment. That is the share that I have for this moment. As I say, Ashe, Amen, and Namaste. Each one, reach one, teach one. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates. As I share with you, share with everyone, vulnerably, the way that I see that we can relate to each other in equilibrium, in love, because this is the love frequency. We are in the love frequency in this age of Aquarius, in the 5D frequency, in the knowing. And in the knowing, it is not only for us to have the weight of intelligence on our brain, it is for us to have the heart-brain coherency that allows us to flow in the love currency. And with that, Ashe.